Hi guys, welcome to my studio. I thought I would do a live intro before we get to the before we turn to the dark side, which I'm sure you all saw the thumbnail and clicked on it because of that. Yeah, I just want to, reassure you and confirm that I'm not crazy. I get angsty from time to time, and this is a little of my angst coming out. I feel like I hardly recognize the country I live in anymore. Yeah, I thought I would show you some nice stuff. No, I don't have a wall plastered with Elon pictures or Orange Voldemort pictures or anything like that. And mostly I like to do nice, pretty things, abstract things, not like political commentary, but I do like social commentary and I do like political commentary, and it's a thing in my life. I have to give that space as well as the other stuff. I would be happy putting Buddha in everything. But some days I'm just not in touch with my Buddha nature, I guess. Some days I fall off the wagon. So I thought I'd show you a few things I've got going on. I've got a couple of backgrounds here. These are just watercolor backgrounds. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. Another background. This poor little guy has been painted over and over and over again. I like the effect I have here. And I did have some thumbnail sketches. I was actually going to turn this into another social / political commentary piece, but I don't think I have enough space to do what I want here. But yeah, just little pretty pictures of space. I love to do space. This is just some design stuff. Oops, I knocked something over. Notice my messy mat is gone, and this is what I have my table covered in to protect the table. It's just a cheapy tablecloth from Walmart, like $4. You can wipe it up. Although the mess I make, I actually have my last one here, off topic a little bit. This is my messy mat. So I took my last tablecloth that got a bit icky after a while, and I cut it up, and some is on the floor for drying space, and the rest are kind of cut up into messy mats for myself so that I can just paint with abandon. So just some abstract things, like there's the Buddha. I want to fix this picture. I don't know what I want to do yet, but that's a work in progress. I don't know. That's probably done. I don't know. Another work in process here. Lots to go on this one. Like I said, I'd love to sit around and paint the Buddha all day, but I'm not always in that mood. So we've got happy, pretty pictures, not dark, negative pictures, lest you think there's anything wrong with me. There is not. But I do like to recognize all sides when doing art. This is not finished. This is just a background. I do backgrounds when I'm not particularly inspired. I can't think of anything to do, or sometimes I'm just like, it gets the momentum going, and then I do a background, and then I start doing other stuff. So that's a background. Where it's going, I don't know. Another Buddha picture. This is not finished yet. I love this one. I don't have names for them, but I think I'm going to call this one the Path to Enlightenment, because this is like, you can't see it yet. I haven't made it pop out yet, but this is like his meditation, his path to the Buddha, and then like, never thought I'd be able to use this negative space thing here. I drew a smiley face, and it fit perfectly there. And this is once you're enlightened. At least, in my fantasy world, that's what happens. I have yet to attain that, sorry to say. No, I'm not a Buddhist. I do like the Buddhist philosophy, though. And here we have some here's just a background picture. This is what backgrounds look like. I am obsessed with checkerboards. I'd put them in everything if I could. I try to restrain myself, so I don't know where that's going yet. That's just background. We've got what I call the Disney picture. So, just something I had in my mind that I had to get on paper. And yet another Buddha picture, Stillness Sings. Love that one. This little thing here was a watercolor, what do they call that? Negative painting watercolor. I really like doing negative painting watercolor. There will be more of that in my future, I think. I already have some plans. So let's look at the dark side here. All right, I'll zoom you down a bit. I'll briefly explain, and then I'll roll the footage of me making this piece. So we've got some very famous pictures of Elon doing his, I don't want to say it on the internet, but, you know, his salute that was very inappropriate, extremely inappropriate. I thought we settled that, like, in the 40s. So we've got, this is a famous art piece in, I think it's in Vegas, that person did. I don't know who the artist was. I don't know his name, but, or her name, whatever they are, of the naked Trump. So, and he was, this is a picture of him moving him with the crane, so he's got strings, and I'm like, oh, this is so perfect, because we've moved into, you know, Banana Republic status here. That's a banana. That's the Empire. The Galactic Empire from Star Wars, that's the symbol of that. There's the Death Star and a banana. That's symbolic. You read into that what you will. But it led perfectly to, you know, we've got the puppet government, basically. I don't think he's in charge. I think he's in charge. That's what it looks like. I'm just a little peon, you know, little serf. That's what it looks like to me. The crown is an ode, my ode to Jean-Michel Basquiat. I love his work. And just some kind of graffiti about the coup. This was the background when Elon did his thing, his inappropriate thing. That's how I see it. I didn't add this because I forgot that I wanted to put this in there until I was done. I already shot it. But this is basically a ruler. This is 1 trillion. You know, it's rumored that he wants to be the first guy to make it to $1 trillion or whatever, which I think it's failed economic policy. If you have any billionaires, you should be taxing the hell out of them. But we all know that for those richest people in the world, it's a body part measuring contest. So that's why that is in there. Along with lots of bananas. The bananas have, you know, 2 meanings, you know. Banana Republic and the other thing. So there we are. That's my thinking behind the angsty picture here. All right, we'll roll that beautiful bean footage for you of me making this piece, and we'll see you at the end. Okay, so here I'm showing you my background. This is actually in a journal with lined pages, so you could actually write words on it in lines. I've turned it into, I glued some pages together, removed a few pages, and turned it into a sketchbook for myself. You can actually see some of the lines. So on this particular one, I didn't prime it with anything. I just, I had some leftover watercolor, so I watercolored the background, and then I drew on the background with 2 different colors of acrylic-based markers. And then on top of that, I did some collage and some paint. So you're caught up to the background there. Now you can see I'm dripping some paint. Of course, it's going to be red. It's a coup. You know, things happen in coups. It's a coup of a coup, maybe. I don't know what's going on in my mind. I remember, gosh, 10 years ago, I was making political art then, although it was big wall murals. And the star of that, again, was Trump and the whole political situation then. But I feel like 10 years later, it seems like it's about 10 years. 10 years later, here I am again, doing the same thing. Although his first term was ridiculous, but not as evil as this particular term. I think he's abdicated his responsibility, and he's, you know, letting whoever wants whatever who will pay him to do whatever they want. So in addition to my red drips, I've got some splatters. You know, it's all symbolic in this picture. I'll let you read into that whatever you want to read into that. It's pretty obvious though. So we moved on to the famous pictures here, and I should mention, I don't believe that this is plagiarism. I'm using a famous photograph and then a famous art piece there, photograph of an art piece. That's the naked Trump in Vegas. I am recontextualizing the meanings of these two things. And there's me trying to be all cool and do the snap thing, which, yeah, I'm just a nerd and it didn't really come out that well. So I've cut out the guys. Now I'm going to paint Trump. I've got to give him his orange skin because he's very pale in that picture. He's like Trump baby pink there. Yeah, so I'm testing different shades of orange to see what I want to go with there. That is it's an old, the watercolor is an old Mei Liang watercolor. I think they do it differently now. They come in individually wrapped pans, actually. That's just a whole plastic thing that the paints are sunk into. But for my purposes, as not, I don't do a whole lot of watercolor, it serves my purposes fine. I have many other watercolors, though, as well. But I'm trying to use that up. Maybe when I use it up, I'll get something better. I don't know. So there, now he looks more like himself with his orange spray tan there. I gave him I drew some circles around his eyes. I wanted to make him look cartoony and puppet-like. Because in this picture, it's the puppet. It's symbolizing the puppet government. He's the puppet government, controlled by oligarchs. I'm giving him yellow hair because I don't know what color his hair is. It seems kind of gray or white or blonde. I don't even know what color his hair is. With his super awesome style as well. All right, there's the bad boy. I'm referencing a bullet hole that I drew in a not smiley face. This piece is called Blank the Coup. So, we got to have imagery that's, appropriate to that. I gotta say my blood on his face didn't come out as good as I would have liked, but you don't really have control when you're trying to do drips. You don't really have control over that aspect. I wasn't gonna redo it though. It's just a piece in a sketchbook, that's all. Just me getting my feelings out there. Art therapy in action. The splatters on him didn't look that good either. They look better on the paper towel behind him. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. Trying to uncurl them a bit. So now I'm going to go outside and I printed these guys on my inkjet printer. And when you put Mod Podge or matte gel medium over it, the ink from the inkjet printer runs. So I was sealing them. I went outside and sprayed them very liberally with the matte sealer spray that I had there. That will keep the ink from running. I do that with anything that's water-based, like if I use gel pens or I use watercolor on watercolor paper. If you use watercolor on other papers, it's not usually a problem. But anything that's water-based, or in this case from my inkjet printer, I just spray with that, and then I can collage away with it with no problems. I'm taking a pencil and defining some of his like wrinkly bits there. He's kind of like one of those wrinkly dogs. I don't know what they're called. At least this artist's rendition of his body, which is probably pretty accurate. Elon's arm sticking out there it was just so perfect to hold the puppet strings. I didn't even have to look that hard for these pictures when I typed in to get pictures of Elon and that pose came up, and I knew I wanted to allude to the puppet government that I think is going on here. This place that we've entered in our country's history. Like many other countries that have had puppet governments, where the power behind it was the oligarchs. These two pictures just like they came up first. It was like destiny, just like Elon's arm, he can hold the puppet strings. Trump, that statue of Trump was actually already being held up by a crane with not strings, but wires and whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is just too perfect. So like I said, recontextualization in art is when you take a famous piece or whatever and you change the meaning behind it. So Elon is doing his very inappropriate salute there. And I've changed that to be his arm. Well, we can't unsee what we saw, but his arm is now extended to hold up the puppet government, basically, the Trump figure. So I'm also recontextualizing the Trump figure from that, naked statue that it was into, he's changed into a puppet now. So that is how you do recontextualization in regards to art commentary, I guess we'll say. Not that I need to worry about whether I'm plagiarizing anything. This is just, it's just a thing in a sketchbook. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to be for sale or anything. It's just me working out my angst. Like I said, art therapy in action here. That red thing is the Galactic Empire symbol from Star Wars. It comes in black and white, and I saw it also in red, so I'm like, well, I need to pull the red down to that bottom right corner, so I'll use that. I was going for the black and white one, and I saw the red one, and I'm like, oh, that's good. We'll go with that. The Death Star is kind of giving Trump's tiny little bits cover there. It's supposed to symbolize that. I have several banana pictures that I cut out, and I was only going to use the one as it would be the banana empire instead of the American empire, the banana, that's a whole reference to what was it, the 60s, the 70s? All the banana republics that we went in, and we, there were democratically elected officials in those countries, and we couped them. Americans started a coup and replaced them to support our banana industry so that we could have cheap bananas in America. Yeah. Us, champions of democracy, we did that. It's historical, it's on the record. You can look that up. I had the brilliant idea that I was going to use dental floss here as the strings, which proved very difficult to actually get into place. I did do it, and then they didn't really stand out enough. So later, I had to go in, and it was pretty easy. I just, along the top of the string, because it's raised, so it's pretty easy. I just did a acrylic paint pen in white across just to give it a little more, make it a little easier to see so that you understand what's happening in my whole puppet government scenario here. So yeah, a long time to get those stupid dental flosses like glued down. And no, I did not use new dental floss because neither of these men deserve new dental floss. That's used dental floss. Just an FYI for you there. I recycled it because they're not worthy of new stuff. Either of these evil Antichrist people. Oh, the struggle was real there. It's not easy making a puppet government. Although I gotta say, on TV it looked like it was really easy. Like Trump just rolled over and said, "Okay, Elon, take over." Okay, so I felt it was kind of blank in the the top right corner, so I'm going to stencil in the word coup. It's going to be cropped a bit, it goes off the page a bit. It's just more backgroundy stuff. While I wait for the paint to dry on the C, I've got more bananas to use. So I actually I didn't know which banana I wanted for the Red Empire thing, so I did 3. And with the other ones, I invented uses for them. I felt like the banana needed its due there. It's overkill on the whole banana concept. It has duplicate meanings. It's phallic, and it's also referring to the banana republics, the history there. So there's a lot of meanings. The banana in the crown, that crown is, I love the artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. He had crowns in his work, so that's just a wink and a nod to him. Awesome artist. Graffiti. He was one of the Keith Haring and I think one or two others. And Basquiat were the first graffiti artists to, come onto the gallery scene. Of course, I believe all of them were actually, formally artistically trained. So they weren't they were graffiti artists, but they weren't from the streets graffiti artists, I guess we would say. I love graffiti art. I also really like having text in art, random numbers, random letters. In this case, it's going to, spell out a feeling, a wish, a dream, something like that. I'm showing you all my little letter, what is it, ransom note style letters, things that I have printed out. By the magic of TV, they're already cut out. I'm just drawing on the crown a bit. The blue star up by the crown. Yes, that is my Star Wars cup, by the way. I'm a big sci-fi geek. Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff. I love it. You'll see it making its presence known, I'm sure. So that picture of Trump there, his hand was chopped off, and I didn't realize it till I was cutting him out. I'm like, oh, he's missing his hand. So, like, well, we'll just paint over it, or in this case, put a cool letter over it. I'm coding the letters of the word coup because on black I've noticed that the mediums show up, so I didn't want it to be a distraction from what's really going on there. So I'm eventually going to put the little star. The star was from the background where Elon was. There's more of the background there. I feel like I could pepper a little bit more blue stars. Now when I was gluing those down, those weren't sprayed with the sealer, so the ink bled all over my fingers and the paper. They were whiter. The stars were whiter. They're a little more bluey now. I am going to go around the letters with some yellow scratchy outlines just to make them pop a little bit more. There's a lot going on in the picture, a lot of ideas and symbols and stuff, and I don't want them to get lost. Not that they could maybe, but see how the stars become much more blue instead of white there? That's the inkjet ink bleeding a little bit. This is cropped a bit. I almost forgot to start filming this part. But yeah, just going around the letters. After I'm done filming, I do add a little bit more red drips and the aforementioned body part measuring thing on the podium there. And then I think, and a few more splatters, I think. And then it is done. Getting some of my stress and angst, working it out. That's an Ohuhu acrylic marker, paint marker. I love those, they work really well. I'll try to put links in the description if I can. And then, like I said, a little bit will happen. I'll have a picture for you at the end here. A little bit will happen off camera. They were afterthoughts, but so that is pretty much it. I thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.